So today, I really just want to talk to you about why it's okay to enjoy media that other people might hate. So let's start off with something that is kind of a little older, but people still have opinions on it. So when I was growing up, I was exposed to a lot of different kind of media, specifically from my oldest siblings. I mean, we had stuff like Beast Wars, for example, and we really enjoyed Beast Wars as a kid, and I did too, and it was just a really fun experience. But if you go and you look at opinions of it now, it's not glowing. One example is the animation. It was a more novel kind of show for the CG animation of that early day. I mean, we had stuff like Toy Story that came out, which would just exploded. Everybody loved it for the most part. And the animation, like, it was actually viable. You could make a film in CG, and it actually worked. I want to bring up Beast Wars as an example because I think that show in particular had some very interesting, and this might just be because I have rose-tinted glasses on this, but I think the writing, the characters, yeah, it was all made to, sell toys. But there's a lot of shows out there like Beast Wars that were made to sell toys that were actually not too bad and actually pretty good. I mean, the character work, the whole Dinobot arc, everything with just the way it intertwined with the old show, in fact, was kind of bonkers, but it worked and it was enjoyable. And I think that's one of the goals of this, is to really just find things that you enjoy, even if it's a little older, That takes me also to Half-Life 1. I remember when I turned 18 and I was allowed to play Half-Life 1, and I bought it on Steam for the Valve Complete Pack, I think was like, oh shoot, what was it? It was like $18 or something to that extent. And I don't know, it's even cheaper, maybe 12. Regardless, I got Half-Life 1 in the Valve Complete Pack on Steam. And I opened it up, I'm like, ooh, this game's kind of dated. It came out in 97. However, and again, it was also early 3D movement, 3D space. It was very early to that. But playing that at the time, nowadays, it was scary. It really gave me a lot of feelings that you still experienced back then, that I'm experiencing now. And I think going back to older media, regardless of what people say, is important because there's still a lot of enjoyment you can pull from that, especially older media. And I think one of the main reasons I want to bring up specifically Beast Wars and Half-Life are because those are two properties, or I should say pieces of media, that really haven't aged all that well in the last 25 years in terms of just how they look and looks alone. And for some people, that is the only thing that matters, or that's a easy indicator of, well, it's not really good, because it's not new and it's not modern. When in reality, it's, of course, just like those older movies, just like a lot of other media out there, they're really good. Again, good writing is good writing, regardless of what year it came out or what time period it was in. And this is definitely not one of those videos where, oh, why aren't people liking the thing I like? You should like what I like. No. You should like what you like. And if you don't like Beast Wars or Half-Life, or they're too dated for you, or they're not good in your opinion, that's totally fine and fair. I'm just saying that, again, if you enjoy a certain piece of media or want to consume it, you should consume it regardless of what people have to say about it, or even if people hate it. And speaking of writing, let's go into The Last of Us Part 2. I want to bring this up because why it's really okay to enjoy media other people don't like. Let's be real. Last of Us Part 2 is a PS4 game. When it came out in 2020, it actually got leaked, and by some people, we don't know who, but it was probably somebody who worked on the game, wanted to leak it. They had the files. It was during COVID, so it was being worked on at the latter half of its development cycle from home for a lot of people, so it kind of presented a security risk. And when it got leaked online, the entire plot of the story, a lot of cutscenes, in fact, a lot of people really trashed on the game, and some deservedly so, I would guess, maybe. And when it finally came out and I did play it, I was conflicted. I honestly didn't know how to feel about it. And it was a very good game, but I just didn't know how to feel about it. Since then, since the release of The Last of Us Part 2, I've played it about 3 times, and I consider it a masterpiece. Flawed, yes, but it's a masterpiece. There's many issues I have with the game, such as pacing, story, and specific choices characters make. Not all that great, but honestly, it's still a really great experience. One of the most well-made video games, I think, that has ever been made in the industry, especially today. Again, it was 3 years ago. That's not that long ago. It still beats a lot of other games that have come out today in a lot of areas. And look, I think with Last of Us Part 2 specifically, there is a lot I disagree with Neil Druckmann, the guy who directed the game and created it along with another guy named Bruce Straley. But the sequel was directed and written by him and I think someone else as well. And I feel that, let me be honest, I really don't find a lot I agree with Neil Druckmann on, the guy who directed the game. However, I mean, there's a lot me and him disagree with. I mean, I haven't talked to him about any of this, but just seeing his opinions that he airs publicly and seeing my own and taking my opinions into account, there's a lot I disagree with him about, and about just a lot of things. But regardless of whether I agree or disagree with him or not about life or things that are in this world, I still thoroughly enjoy his creation because, again, he's an artist and he went and did art. And the whole team at Naughty Dog have done such an amazing thing and such an amazing feat by making The Last of Us Part 2. It's, again, a masterpiece. Whether it be flawed or not, it's a masterpiece. I think that's a big issue for a lot of people because they are, for some reason, politics and cultural opinions are really the bane of everyone's existence on the internet. And for some reason, a lot of people let that affect their opinion on certain kinds of art. Mostly because you're looking at other opinions, you're looking at other people online, you're looking at what they have to say about a kind of piece of media, and whether it's crap or not, or whether they think it's crap or not. What do you think about it? Do you enjoy it? I think that also leads me into, again, politics ruins a lot of things, and there's a lot of toxicity, especially in the gaming industry and the discourse with games itself. And you know what? It's not fun at all. But it's also good to have those conversations because it kind of, it doesn't always bring people together, but it's a conversation that needs to happen regardless. So let's go on to something a little less controversial. Barbie. Barbie came out this year, and it came out to a lot of praise and a lot of hate. But I actually remember when they announced it, when Greta Gerwig is making a Barbie movie and Margot Robbie is Barbie? Huh. So the chick who made Lady Bird and the reboot of Little Women, the Little Woman reboot, is doing a Barbie movie? Interesting. Well, I mean, looking at those other two pieces of work that she's done, I can imagine it's probably going to be kind of feministy, you know? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. And I totally forgot I had that opinion until it came out, and people are like, "Oh my god, it's the worst film I've ever seen because of the feminist overtones and undertones that it displays." And I have yet to see the Barbie movie, and I see a lot of people having opinions on it that I follow, who I enjoy the content they create, and or who are just very loud in the medium of reviewing movies. And they say that they hate it, or they say it's terrible or not enjoyable. It's just terrible in their opinion, and they don't really give a reason why. They just say it's politically, because it goes against their political beliefs. They don't like it, and which is totally fair. You can have your opinion on that. But for me, I remember seeing the trailers. I remember the marketing's amazing, by the way. Like the whole thing with the whole thing with 2001: A Space Odyssey, the teaser trailer. Oh my god, it was awesome. It's great marketing. But again, it's kind of media I saw and I wanted to consume because it looked interesting to me. And I think for people out there, if you want to consume a piece of media, go ahead and consume it, regardless of what people think of it. Because again, you're your own person and you create your own opinion. So just go make your own opinion out of it. And again, go enjoy it for what it is. I think that leads to authenticity and media, and authenticity in media, specifically Doom 2016. I think Doom 2016 is, again, a reboot of a game franchise that has had a lot of baggage, a lot of history, a lot of story behind it. When I mean story, I mean just the story of all those games and how they were made and the company and all that, and how really it was a reboot made with young blood, with people who were hungry and wanted to really make an homage to a game that they love. And I think that's why Doom 2016 was really popular and really had a huge success, was it was made to really pay homage to a franchise that has been around for quite a long time, ever since it was the first prominent first-person shooter. And it was authentically its own thing. And I think with the reboot, again, it was also authentically its own thing, with its own little spin on it. There's it bleeds authenticity. Yeah, it also bleeds bloods and guts and a guy with a big gun, but it also just has a certain amount of authenticity to it. I mean, look at the soundtrack itself. Soundtrack, if you go and look at the behind the scenes of this game and what it was inspired by, I mean, RoboCop being one of them, you could totally see that just bleed through that game and just really honor what came before it as well. And as at the same time, making an entertaining game that people can enjoy. And I think that brings us back to Last of Us Part 2 and authenticity. Let's be real here. Let the artist paint is what I'm trying to say. Let them paint and really just enjoy it and try to separate the art from the artist. But it's, I think, a little bit deeper than that. In this modern day age, we really have a lot of issues, I think, with people being part of a hive mind, for lack of a better term. For the lack of a better term, a hive mind. And I think people shouldn't let others influence their opinion on media that they consume, at least to a certain extent. If you really want to go spend your money on something and you want to make sure it's worth it, that you want to spend that top dollar that you earned, that's totally fair, and totally seek out information. I do it all the time. I'm constantly, as everyone is in this modern day of the internet, we're all consuming, We're all consuming information, right? We're all consuming it, and it's hard to be honest with yourself when you're consuming different opinions and different people's opinions that are having an effect on you. And speaking of having an effect on you, let's bring up Hogwarts Legacy. This game is, well, I mean, from all accounts I've heard, it's pretty fun actually. But for those unaware and uninitiated, it was extremely controversial, specifically having to do with, well, the creator of the property, Harry Potter, J.K. Rowling. And I won't go into what she's done or what people are mad about, but what I will go into is people's reactions. And I think that, honestly, people overreacted with this game. They had a vendetta against somebody, and they picked a victim to attack, and that person was, well, this game. Or, well, it wasn't really a person, it was a property. And again, you might really like Hogwarts Legacy, but the pushback, the reception that it received, the things you see on Twitter, a lot of people just really vehemently hate the property now because of what the creator has said publicly. And it's just, I think personally, very silly. You shouldn't let the reactions and the pushback of others of one property really affect your enjoyment of something. If you like Hogwarts Legacy, then enjoy it and have a good time with it. And if it's a good experience, a good experience. Like, nobody's going to stop you. And I've seen quite a few people say that, oh, we're not going to cover this game, we're not going to run with this game. Other people, other media outlets, other people who review games, they won't, and they refuse to play this game because of their opinions on the creator. And whether those people are trying to be virtuous and of being of moral excellence by not buying the game or hating on the game, supporting it, it doesn't really matter. Look, let them go on and hate that game and not enjoy the experience that you want to experience. Don't let them have such a great effect on you to the extent of, I'm going to let my life be dictated or my interests be dictated by what other people tell me to do. Look, influence and influencers are a huge asset in today's society. So you gotta be, not only, don't let it just be influenced by anything at all, but be smart about it. And that's the thing. And remember, on Twitter, it's not real life. It's on Facebook, it's not real life. On Instagram and even YouTube here, it's not real life. It's just a projected version of what whoever is creating the content wants you to see. Well, at least what I want you to see since you're watching this video. I think the biggest thing for me is just don't let others have such a large effect on the opinion you have on something, because it kind of just makes you part of whatever sway the internet wants you to go in, or whatever opinion people want you to have. Look, just because you love Cowboy Bebop and the classic show that it is, And people say that, oh my god, you should not watch the Netflix adaptation because it's woke or whatever. Look, just because it's that kind of thing, which it very well may be, I haven't seen it actually, doesn't mean you shouldn't just not watch it. I mean, there's some promising things about it. And if you find those things promising or interesting, then who's stopping you? I mean, besides not having a Netflix subscription. So in closing, I just want to leave this by encouraging you all and saying that don't let others influence your opinion on media you consume. Be honest with yourself, and as a result, you will be honest with others. And remember, be authentically you, because your opinion matters. So don't let it be heavily or overly influenced by outside sources or influences or whatever. Just remember, make it your own. This is your own experience, and nobody can take that away from you. So to end it all there, I hope you found this entertaining, informative, and I will see you next time. Peace.